Hi everyone, my name is Gale J. Yandell, and I want to talk with you today about a subject that, well, I'm a little uncomfortable bringing up. It's a topic we don't really talk about much because if someone hears us say it out loud, there could be problems. We could run the risk of being judged or told we aren't good Christians, or worse. So get ready, because we're going to get real today. I want to talk to you about when we are feeling disappointed in God. Yep, I said it, feeling disappointed in God. Have you ever felt like that? That you have held up your end of the bargain, but God has not. You've been faithful. You have been in the Word every day. You have prayed every day. You've never missed a Sunday. You have tithed everything you were supposed to. And you asked God for something, and He didn't keep His side of the bargain. Scripture tells us that the prayers of a righteous man availeth much. So you do your best to be righteous, and yet nothing changes. You have prayed about the same issue for years, and you're starting to wonder if your words are falling on deaf ears. You prayed for that new job, but you didn't get it. You prayed that God would heal your marriage, but it didn't happen, and your spouse left. You prayed that God would meet your financial needs, but you lost your house anyway. You prayed that your sick family member would be healed, but they died. You've prayed for your child for years that they would come to know Jesus, but they're still a drug addict living on the street. So let me ask you, have you ever been disappointed in God? Have you ever doubted that God was really there, or that He really even cared? You see miracles in other people's lives, but what about you? Many of us grew up in Christian homes where we were taught about Jesus and the goodness of God, but no one taught us what to do when we feel that sinking feeling in our gut. The feeling of betrayal, or the feeling that someone had turned their back on us or abandoned us. That's someone being God. I don't know about you, but those aren't words that I really want to say out loud. I fear condemnation from others. Heaven forbid I openly share that I feel hurt by God, or that I have doubts that He even cares about me. So what about you? Have you ever felt hurt by God? Or have you ever had doubts that He cares? I'm just going to own it. I certainly have had those feelings. And part of the reason I own it out loud is to say it's okay. It's okay if you have felt that way too. Oh man, I can just hear my grandmother's voice. You feel what? You're not supposed to feel that way. You're not supposed to question God or His motives. We walk by faith. Don't say those things. And the truth is, I just do wonder sometimes. And I just do doubt sometimes. And maybe you do too. In his book, Disappointment with God, Philip Yancey discusses the sadness and the confusion we can feel when life goes sideways. He writes, disappointment with God does not only come in dramatic circumstances. For me, it also edges unexpectedly into the mundaneness of everyday life. I have found that petty disappointments tend to accumulate over time, undermining my faith with a lava flow of doubt. I start to wonder whether God cares about everyday details or even about me. I'm tempted to pray less often, having concluded in advance that it won't matter. Or will it? My emotions and my faith waver. And once those doubts seep in, I'm even less prepared for times of major crisis. Wow, I'll bet we can all relate to the words of Philip Yancey. Listen to these scriptures and see if you have ever felt like this. Job 30:11 says, God has unstrung my bow and afflicted me. Job 30:15 says, terrors overwhelm me. My dignity is driven away as by the wind. My safety vanishes like a cloud. Job 30:18 and 19 state, in his great power, God throws me into the mud and I'm reduced to dust and ashes. Job 30:20 through 21 says, I cry out to you, God, but you don't answer. I stand up, but you merely look at me. You turn on me ruthlessly, and with the might of your hand, you attack me. Job 30:31 says, my lyre is tuned to mourning, and my pipe to the sound of wailing. Well, talk about wondering what is going on. Job had a lot of questions, and rightfully so. So all of this got me to thinking and wondering how many people turn away from God or abandon their faith because of disappointment. I did a lot of research on this topic, and while there is no single reliable data source for tracking this kind of information, I did find that studies suggest that a significant portion of the people who leave organized religion cite personal experiences of disappointment with the church or in their faith as a contributing factor, especially when dealing with major life challenges like loss or trauma. Well, I guess I'm not the only one who has, at times, felt disappointed, hurt, or abandoned by God. Well, now that I've painted a pretty depressing picture, I want you to stay tuned for part 2, because good news is coming. In the second part of this podcast, we'll discuss how to deal with these feelings and to not have guilt or shame over having them in the first place. I'm telling you, hold on. Good news is coming. I'll see you soon. Thank you.